forthcoming Ray Lugo from his Boogaloo Destroyers album. Ray Lugo bringing you Terremoto, brilliant salsa, here on the African Caribbean Experience, where it's a couple of minutes before 9 o'clock. Let's have a look at the Black Press, and The Voice we'll start with has a triple headline cover this week. Targeted with a question mark is the big name, big word on the front of the Voice newspaper, and it talks about a 16-year-old who was hospitalized following arrest months after he was held by police for having an expensive watch. It also has the strapline, Prime Minister's Free Schools Pledge. David Cameron has written an article exclusively for The Voice about education, and a picture of June Sarpong, formerly presenter on the T4, Channel 4 children's programme, who's recently been recruited to become a presenter on Newsnight. So they've got a picture of her on the front page, and there's also news about the Aaliyah biopic, with apparently there's some controversy, it seems, over the casting choice for the lead actress to play the role of Aaliyah in the upcoming film. So we'll follow that with interest. The back page of the press, the Black Press, there's a picture of Rio Ferdinand, the Manchester United defender, who as of tomorrow will conclude his contract with the Old Trafford team, and according to The Voice is set to join Premier League newcomers, I'll whisper this because it's still saw QPR to beat Derby, of course, in the playoff. Don't need me to remind you about that. But apparently Ferdinand will be joining them to add his experience at Premiership and international level to the club managed by Harry Redknapp, who was the man that gave Rio his first break in football back in 1996 when he was at West Ham United. Rejoin us after the news at 9, when we'll hear from the cricketing legend that is Sir Garfield Sobers. He's been in the area over the last few days. We caught up with him, and much, much more.
On FM, AM and online, this is BBC Radio Derby.
It's 9 o'clock, I'm Liz Saul. The Doctors' Union, the BMA, has criticised a government proposal to identify GP surgeries in England which have a poor record of detecting cancer. The Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, says he's concerned that diagnosis rates around the country vary significantly. Chairman of the BMA's GPs Committee, Dr. Chand Nagpal, said it was wrong for ministers to indulge in what he called a blame game.
If it was so simple that in fact you diagnose it at its first presentation, we wouldn't be calling it a killer disease, because that's the whole problem, that many cancers are extremely deceiving. So you're never going to be able to have a situation where it's diagnosed within minutes of its presentation.
The MP for Newark says he's going to work with campaigners and doctors to ensure the long-term future of the town's hospital. Robert Jenrick says he's going to hold people to account and try to make sure more patients are referred there. He says people living in and around Newark are worried.
There's a great concern that there's death by 1,000 cuts. It's going to make a slow death as different services are removed, often for good reasons. You know, a lot of it has been about safety, but even there are concerns from hospital campaigners that, you know, is that being used as a professional excuse for taking away services when there haven't been many, if any, cases of things going wrong at the hospital over the years.
In response, the hospital's chief executive, Paul O'Connor, has told us he would see even more patients treated. He said, "We're absolutely committed to the future of Newark Hospital, and we're pleased that our local MP shares our commitment." A report into why 2 RAF tornadoes crashed off the Caithness coast in 2012 is due to be published tomorrow by the Military Aviation Authority. 3 airmen, including squadron leader Samuel Bailey from Nottingham, were killed. Air accident investigators concluded if an onboard collision warning system had been fitted to the RAF's fleet of tornadoes, it would have prevented the accident and saved lives. The BBC understands the finding is contained in a highly critical report into the July 2012 tragedy. Nottingham community groups say more needs to be done to increase HIV awareness among the city's black and minority ethnic communities. People of black, African and Caribbean ethnicity make up 65% of those living in Nottingham with HIV, and many more may not even know they have the virus. Nottingham City Council says it's trying to improve ways in which people can get screened. The Prime Minister has spoken to the EU Commission President-designate this afternoon. David Cameron and Jean-Claude Juncker discussed how they could work together to make the EU more competitive and flexible. Mr Juncker said he was fully committed to finding solutions for the political concerns of the UK. A memorial has been unveiled at a Derby cemetery to remember stillborn children in the city. The service was attended by past and present members of SANS, Stillbirth and Neonatal Death Support. Almost 200 babies' names are inscribed on the memorial. TV auctioneer Charles Hanson, whose son Tommy died 2 years ago, officially opened the memorial and garden.
This memorial will be a legacy and a place where mothers of today, mothers of tomorrow, and certainly mums and dads of yesteryear can spend time remembering those babies who can't be with us today.
A designated public place order in Leicester city centre to stop street drinking could be expanded. People's views are being invited on whether it should be banned across the whole of Leicester, including the suburbs. The current order gives police the power to make those drinking to stop, hand over any alcohol, or face a fine of up to £500. Country Queen Dolly Parton ruled Glastonbury today as she attracted the biggest crowd of the festival to the Pyramid stage. The 100,000 plus people who were thought to have flocked to see her sing hits, including Jolene and Blue Smoke, and many paid homage by dressing up as the star. And now your weather, it'll be a dry night with lengthy clear spells, feeling rather chilly in places, lows of 7 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow starts bright and dry with sunny spells and light winds. Small chance of a shower later, highs of 19. BBC News, it's 4 minutes past 9.
Devon Daley on BBC Radio Derby.
So welcome back to the second hour of the African Caribbean Experience. We'll be hearing about the formation of a new African Court for Justice and Human Rights, why Sir Garfield Sobers, cricket legend from the West Indies, has been in Derbyshire this week, and what do you think to all the hairstyles you've been seeing at the World Cup? We have a report on that too.
Devon Daley on BBC Radio Derby.
You know, it's arranged represented Kingston Tree to the fullest. Is do my song them different still, you know? Yeah. The Cashpoint, the job spine, great the crunch make me walk past the Cashpoint. The job spine, the Cashpoint. Let's give me the fire, yeah. Two of a cash card, but me can't stop at the Cashpoint. Great the crunch make me walk past the Cashpoint. Position, depression, I'm picking up the jazz fine. Who please it must know what starts like. Cash card, but me can't stop at the Cashpoint. Great the crunch make me drive past the Cashpoint. Position, depression, I'm picking up the jazz fine. Who please it knows it. You came in a sky like I'm working. I'm trying to get the people put together that I'm certain. Me not alone. Go ask Monty Perkins. Don't say records, no I'm time to blurking. I'm working by the hour, try to heal it, but in a better. Cause the look of cash can't full over the glitters. More to reach the hole in at the wall, but just said over that can nothing. No, that's so ideal you want check for. Remember, the cash card, but me can't stop at the cash point. Great the crunch, make me walk past the cash point. Position, depression, I'm picking up the jazz point. Oh, please, it must know what's that like. Cash card, but me can't stop at the cash point. Great the crunch, make me try past the cash point. Position, depression, I'm picking up the jazz point. Oh, please, it knows it. No, it seems like me a run for your creditors. The little when me up in done gone swipe out to the bitters. Then I come make that stop me. From first records, you know it kinda hard, but it rougher. You know that as the bump start right the boy interest rate. The overdrawn on the cash card still not pay. When me up in the studio one go buy stuff play. Put it away, damn rain season for the rainy day. Come me up a cash card, but me can't stop at the cash fight. Great the crunch, make me walk past the cash fight. Position, depression, I'm picking up the jazz fight. Oh, please, it must know what's that like. Cash card, but me can't stop at the cash fight. Great the crunch, make me try past the cash fight. Position, depression, I'm picking up the jazz fight. Oh, please, it knows it. The youth them need it. Because the youth them in Africa we feel it. The rich already have them with and still a steal it. Me only king and me not care if you believe it. I disbelieve it. All them a fight me, them can't stop me from achieve it. Barack Obama make John McCain leave it. When the crunch first the whole world seen it. Dante records they are unwilling to release it. The cash card but me can't stop at the cash point. When the crunch make me walk past the cash point. Position, depression, I'm picking up the jazz fight. Oh please it must know what's that like. Cash card but me can't stop at the cash point. When the crunch make me picking up the jazz fight. Who feels it, knows it, so tell me how you crew is so. You make the youth in Africa are so far so. Say you're the bigger heads, but you shouldn't do this so. I listen last the money out, cause you know you're not that credit card. So tell me where the money go. Them say Africa eagle, but only quarter go. 3/4 my people, them rabono. And you here, get a youth prepare. Don't make them stop on another one and name. The cash card, but me can't stop at the cash point. Credit crunch, make me walk past the cash point. Position, depression, not picking up the jazz point. Who feels it, must know a stars like. Cash card, but me can't stop at the cash point. Credit crunch.
Derby performer arrangement with his track Cashpoint at 8 minutes after 9 o'clock here on BBC Radio Derby. So we were talking before the news with ex-Derby County captain Michael Johnson about the excitement of the World Cup, and the excitement and controversy has continued this week with allegations that officials connected to the Ghanaian FA